Hello, everyone. I'm Alexis Christoforous. Today on ABC News Live, Ukraine's president coming to Washington. President Zelensky's first foreign trip since the Russian invasion, expected to visit the White House and address Congress, with the Biden administration set to announce a new round of military assistance. We're live in Washington and Ukraine. The House Select Committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol set to release its final report. We are in Washington with what it reveals. And the cross-country Christmas storm on the move, creating a travel nightmare from coast to coast. We're tracking the blizzard warnings with more than 100 million Americans under storm alerts and what could be the coldest Christmas in decades. But we begin with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, set to meet with President Biden in Washington before addressing a joint meeting of Congress. It's believed to be the first time Zelenskyy has left his country since the start of the war, and it comes as Congress is considering $45 billion in funding for Ukraine. ABC's Britt Clennett joins me live from Kyiv, along with ABC's Jay O'Brien on Capitol Hill now for more. So, Britt, Zelenskyy says he plans to discuss cooperation between the U.S. and Ukraine to strengthen resilience and defense capabilities. What can we expect?
Well, quite simply, a lot more weapons to help in their counter-offensive and air defence capabilities too. You know, officials recently told ABC they'd be seeking more long-range and precision weapons. And it comes as heavy fighting continues in the east and in the south of this country, you know, and now there are growing fears too of a potential attack from the north. Putin met with Belarus leader Lukashenko on Monday, and the Ukrainians are warning that an attack could happen within the following weeks or even months. The question is it a bluff to divert resources and manpower from the southern and the eastern front lines? That's just not clear. But the US says there's no sign yet Belarus would be directly involved in this war, but the US is monitoring that too. Putin today, however, said he's training 150,000 reservists for this war and said all their stated goals will be completed. So very adamant words from Putin. You know, Zelenskyy says this is more reason to why it's so critical that the US ramps up its military support even further.
And Jay, officials now telling ABC News the U.S. is expected to announce the next military aid package for Ukraine, which will include Patriot air defense systems and precision bomb kits. Congress also set to vote on $45 billion worth of funding for Ukraine. What's at stake here?
Well, particularly for some members of Congress in this building, the stakes could not be higher. Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader, just took to the floor not long ago. He talked about Zelenskyy addressing Congress, and he compared it to Winston Churchill, who addressed a joint meeting of Congress twice during World War II. He said where Winston Churchill stood generations ago, so too President Zelenskyy stands, not just as a president, but as an ambassador to freedom itself. So again, the stakes could not be higher. You mentioned that $45 billion amount of aid for Ukraine that's in the omnibus bill that just cleared its important first step in the Senate last night. In that package is money to replenish the existing U.S. stockpiles that we've already sent to Ukraine. There's also money for intelligence support. There's humanitarian aid and economic assistance in there. And also separately, those Patriot missiles that are expected to be announced today by the Biden administration. Those Patriot missiles, in large part, intercept ballistic missiles, so they are in response to those missile attacks we've seen on Ukrainian civilians over the last few months, Alexis.
And Britt, the UK Defense Ministry estimates that more than 100,000 Russian soldiers have either been killed, reported missing, or defected since the war began. How much of a difference has the support from the U.S. and its allies really made?
Well, that 100,000 number that you just gave, that number is in line with Ukrainian estimates, although these kind of numbers are quite difficult to verify. But Ukraine has shown it can use U.S. weapons effectively, it has to be said, and Kherson is a case in point. You know, they managed to push Russian troops out of Kherson City, the only regional capital that Russia occupied, and let's not forget, even claimed as its own. And then for air defense too, you know, Ukraine says these Patriots are going to make a huge difference here to their ability to shoot down missiles and drones. Putin took the fight from the battlefields to the sky in October, and this need is real. Just today, you know, the whole of Ukraine has been under air raid alarms at different times, and here in Kyiv, you know, we've heard several today, and not just because of the death and destruction caused by Russian airstrikes, but, you know, also because Russia is hitting critical infrastructure, drawing this country further into darkness as the bitter winter bites here. You know, daily life has become harder and harder for people people in this country, even here in Kyiv. You know, energy suppliers say 10-hour-long emergency power outages are the new reality here.
All right. Britt Clennett, Jay O'Brien, thank you. The House committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol is set to release its final report after voting to refer criminal charges against former President Trump to the Justice Department. ABC News investigative reporter Catherine Faulders joins me live now, along with ABC News legal contributor Kimberly Whaley for more. Catherine, I'll begin with you. What can we expect from this final report?
Yeah, so their much anticipated final report is expected today. It's going to be 8 chapters in length, hundreds of pages. And we'll go into more detail about what we saw in that executive summary earlier this week. We'll probably learn more about witness tampering and witness intimidation. There will be some transcripts likely that we will see of the witnesses that the committee has presented during their hearings, but in little snippets. And look, it will just expand upon also these criminal referrals as it relates to Trump. They're expected to have a lot more evidence in this report, some things that probably we haven't seen publicly during the committee's hearings. And now, while we probably aren't expecting any bombshells out of this, the committee really summarized that well earlier in this week in their last meeting. There is still expected to be some interesting details, and this will really go into a lot of detail from all of the committee's witnesses, but also all the evidence that they have collected over the course of 1.5 years here.
And Kim, I'm curious what you're looking for in this report, and how could the Justice Department use these details in its own investigation?
Well, I agree with Catherine. I think the question of witness intimidation is a big one. The idea behind banning that kind of thing is that we want investigations to proceed without people being bullied to not tell the truth. That's really important. Also, I'm interested in looking at the alleged ethics complaints against certain members of Congress. We know that 6 of them asked for presidential pardons from Donald Trump relating to January 6th, and I think that's still an outstanding issue. The third thing I want to know about is what happened on the day. Why did it take 3 hours for law enforcement to show up? I frankly, in insufficient numbers, I don't know if the committee got into that, but that's something that's really still bothering me. As far as the Justice Department, reportedly, it will be a handoff of all the underlying materials. That investigation has been ongoing with the grand jury. So their, special counsel Jack Smith is hitting the ground running. And I think given that professional former prosecutors were at the helm with the committee's investigation, I expect those 2 probes to sort of meld together and really give the Justice Department what it needs to decide whether there's sufficient proof to persuade a jury beyond a reasonable doubt to convict Donald Trump of crimes. It's a very different standard than I think what the committee had before it in drafting the report.
And Catherine, the House committee is set to release documents related to former President Trump's taxes after a years-long battle, a court battle. What do we know about those documents so far?
So in terms of the numbers that were released in this report by the House Ways and Means Committee, they did show that in 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2020, the document showed that Trump reported net losses here. Interestingly, he paid $0 in taxes in 2020. We're expecting to see more of these numbers when the committee actually releases these documents. They've requested and have received the years 2015 to 2020 of Trump's tax returns. They're going to redact some personal information like Social Security numbers, bank numbers, and then release those in the coming days. Now, what was interesting here and what the chairman of this committee, Richie Neal, focused on was the audit process, the mandatory audit process inside the IRS. What he found was that during the years he requested, 2015 to 2020, so those first 2 years, too, of Trump's presidency, that there was no mandatory audit ongoing of his tax returns until the chairman, until Neal, requested these documents in 2019. Then the audit started. So it, of course, raises the question. You've heard Trump say multiple times, especially while he was in office, that he was under audit and that's why he couldn't release his tax returns. Well, it turns out that it didn't appear that at least during those 2 years before the audit started in 2019, that he was, in fact, under audit.
All right, Catherine Faulders, Kim Whaley, thank you. 100 million Americans bracing for a massive pre-Christmas storm. Depending on where you are, you could get hit with anything from blizzard conditions to heavy rain and dangerous winds. And following that, a potentially life-threatening deep freeze. Cheryl Scott from our Chicago station WLS has the forecast for us. Hi, Cheryl.
Yes, we're continuing to track this major holiday storm that's sweeping across the country. We have alerts draped coast to coast from the plains all the way down to the Gulf as well. Winter alerts for so many states. This bitter cold air, it starts to surge and pour into the northern half of the country tonight, slides all the way far to the south. Take a look at Denver. The temperature drop, today's high 47, overnight to 16 below. That's nearly a 60-degree temperature drop in just a matter of hours. This is a shock to the system type cold, so you need to be prepared for that. This Arctic air continues to move farther to the east. By Friday, wind chills in Chicago near 35 to 40 below, and all of this cold air across the Gulf sliding over to the east for the Christmas holiday. With it comes some heavy snow and areas of blowing snow from Chicago down towards St. Louis for Thursday, but also the warm sector brings heavy rain up and down the I-95 corridor. We're looking at those soaking rains, and a lot of travel delays and cancellations can be expected Thursday and Friday. In terms of those snow totals, we're looking anywhere from about 3 to 6 inches in a lot of locations, but near a foot for parts of Michigan, and strong winds gusts upwards of 50 to 60 miles per hour Thursday night into Friday here up and down I-95. Major airport delays expected. Alexis.
All right, Cheryl Scott, thanks for that. Parents in some parts of the country are struggling to find children's Tylenol and ibuprofen. It comes after an early and very busy virus season, and now some stores are rationing their supplies. I want to bring in ABC News contributor and pediatrician at Stanford Children's Health, Dr. Alok Patel, for more on this. So, Dr. Patel, let's talk about what parents should know about this drug shortage, because manufacturers are saying it isn't a drug shortage. So what's the real deal here?
Well, it seems like from what we know right now, this is based on an increase in demand. I think one important thing for parents to know is what you're able to get right now, 1 or 2 bottles, is sufficient. You don't need to hoard. Please don't. Think about the community and all the other kids out there who may need these medications. I'll give you a quick example. A 120 ml or 4-ounce bottle of Tylenol should be more than 20 doses for a child who weighs about 30 pounds. So there is no need to stash more.
And what can parents do, though, in the meantime, if they need these medications?
Well, the first thing that parents can do is not have fever phobia, as I like to say. So these temperatures of 99, 100, 101 degrees, you don't need to worry about that. They're perfectly normal if your child otherwise is acting normally, eating and drinking as they usually do. If parents do have a specific indication, such as a child who has an excessively long duration of a fever, or a lot of other kids who need these medications, such as kids with chronic disease or who are recovering from surgery and you can't find a medication, talk with a doctor or a clinic or even the pharmacist and try to find another option. But what we don't want parents to do is to use adult medications and try to cut those down to a smaller size or use an alternative medication without advice. That can be dangerous for young kids.
Yes, please, parents, do not do that. What does, or this so-called triple-demic, right, of RSV, the flu, COVID, what does this mean for the holidays? What do you want people to know as we all get ready to gather?
I'm going to cite the New York Times right now, and I think one of the most important things people can do is consider the most vulnerable member of your group or family as you're gathering and plan things around that individual. Testing still absolutely works, and one important thing that everyone can do is stay home if you're sick. There's still a lot of RSV out there. Influenza and COVID are ticking up, and this can be absolutely devastating for someone who is elderly or has underlying medical conditions. So think of everyone around your holiday table. I know it's been 3 long years. We want to keep it safe, though.
Best gift you can give your family, that of health. Dr. Alok Patel, thank you.
Absolutely.
Local officials in the Bahamas say Sam Bankman-Fried has signed extradition papers clearing the way for his transfer to the U.S., where he faces criminal charges over the collapse of the crypto exchange FTX. Senior investigative reporter Aaron Katersky joining me here live now for more on this. Good to see you, Aaron. So a Bahamian corrections official told ABC News that Bankman-Fried did sign those extradition papers. He did not appear in court yesterday. Why is that?
We don't exactly know why he didn't appear yesterday. His lawyers were seated at the courtroom table. U.S. consular officials were ready to get moving with extradition, but Bankman-Fried did not come to court yesterday as planned. He's there now, and the judge is expected to approve his extradition to the United States, at which point Bankman-Fried would be moved from the Bahamas and put on a plane to come here to New York, where he faces federal charges.
So he's also facing other suits here, a related civil lawsuit from the SEC and the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. How do you see those lawsuits playing out?
Those lawsuits have given us a whole window into what regulators and prosecutors believe was going on at FTX almost from the start. They've called it a house of cards, where Sam Bankman-Fried was effectively siphoning billions of dollars and moving it over to his privately controlled hedge fund, Alameda Research, and then using it to pay expenses and debts, to make his own speculative investments, to give it all to politicians, about $35 million in political donations, to buy up lavish real estate without telling any of the people whose money it actually was what he was doing. So it was a straight-up fraud, according to prosecutors and regulators, who say it started right from the moment he founded FTX in 2019.
It's just incredible. Any update at all on the people who are owed money and where that money might be coming from? We had talked about them wanting to claw back some of the money or all of the money he gave to campaigns. Where do things stand? Well,
a number of politicians and campaigns that we've reached out to have told us they are either returning the money or they're going to donate it to charity. We know the prosecutor's office has urged all politicians to give that money back. They know some of it was used to buy real estate, so that's a tangible asset they can try to seize as part of some kind of legal process. But there's billions of dollars that's just unaccounted for, and prosecutors say, frankly, they don't know what happened to all that money, but they'd like to try and get some of it back, which could take years. They're still clawing back all the money, say, from the Bernie Madoff fraud.
Right. It's eerily reminiscent to what happened with Bernie Madoff, and this is now, decades later. What happens next, though, with Bankman-Fried? You say he's in the court today. What's next?
He's in court today. He's already signed that paperwork to initiate extradition. So in all likelihood, this process should take, what, an hour or so? And then in fairly short order, he should, in theory, be on a plane to the United States. We've seen these delays before, though, over the last couple of days, so nothing's certain until it's certain. Once he arrives in New York, he'll be brought to federal court in Lower Manhattan for his initial appearance before a judge, and then he just gets put into the system so the prosecution can begin in earnest. It's thought he will try to be let out on bail. His attorneys are already working with prosecutors to agree to some kind of bail package so he does not have to spend more time in a jail.
Much to look out for with Bankman-Fried. Aaron Katersky, thank you.
Thanks, Alexis.
And coming up, the holidays are here, which means many of our homes are decked out in holiday decorations. When we come back, we're going to tell you what you need to know to keep your pets safe this holiday season. Welcome back. This holiday season is in full swing, and as we celebrate this time of the year, it is important to be mindful of potential hazards for our pets. Founder and CEO of Pet Folk, veterinarian Audrey Weistrack, joins me now for more on this. So, Doctor, thanks so much for being with us. So right off the bat, tell us, what should pet owners be avoiding this holiday season and why?
There are more don'ts than do's during the holidays. So pets should avoid getting entangled in our decorations. We should avoid them being exposed to dangerous plants, dangerous food items such as chocolate, and treats that typically are good for people. Need to be very careful around pets.
Makes sense. So for people who do like to decorate their homes, are there any pet-friendly recommendations you can offer?
So pet-friendly recommendations, Christmas cactuses are actually safe around pets, trying to create some barriers to Christmas trees and decorations. Quite frankly, Alexis, I think there's more concerns around the decorations than there are safety. So we just have to be very cautious. Treat your pets like you would treat a toddler.
Absolutely. That's a good comparison. So what are some other holiday dangers that you as a veterinarian tend to see?
Holiday dangers would include eating things like tinsel or decorations or fragments of decorations. I think as we get closer to the actual Christmas day, being careful of any wrapping paper. Strings can be a really big temptation for cats and dogs, can cause a lot of foreign bodies and a lot of complications. And then as we talk about eating Christmas dinner and getting into New Year's, we want to be very careful about giving our dogs and cats any scraps, any treats, or letting them be exposed to any chocolates or anything that could be dangerous for them to eat.
Absolutely. And finally, what are some tips that pet owners can use to prevent their furry friends from destroying their Christmas trees or decorations? Because they like to get into all that stuff, right? It's exciting for them.
Absolutely. It's all about creating some barriers and some alternate areas where your pets can enjoy themselves. Try not to make too many dangling things that would attract a cat. Keep things high that are breakable. Try to be as protective as possible so that you don't have a launch pad for a cat to try to jump on a tree. And give your pets some really pet-friendly things. Remember during the holidays, Alexis, that it's super important that our pets have more normal than new. And if you have any questions about anything, definitely call your veterinarian. I think the other thing that's really important is if you think your pet has been exposed to anything that could be toxic, call one of your poison control helplines that can help us with pets. ASPCA has a great helpline.
Great tips. Veterinarian Audrey Weistrack, thanks so much, and happy holidays to you and your pets.
Happy holidays to you. Thanks for having me.
Coming up, the couple that turned their side hustles into a successful business. Their advice to anyone who wants to be their own boss. Welcome back. The holiday season is here, and if there is one thing on everyone's mind besides family and those to-do lists, it's money. We are introducing you now to one couple who traded their 9-to-5 for a clever way to make cash, and their tricks might just help put a little extra padding in your wallet. ABC News chief business correspondent Rebecca Jarvis has the story.
For this Michigan family, it's the side hustles that bring in the big bucks.
All right, guys, welcome to shipping day around here. We have 6 items to ship out.
Jamie and Sarah McCulley have said goodbye to the 9-to-5 and hello to a new way of making money, mastering the resale market.
Once we started having kids, we realized that long-term, it wasn't really the lifestyle we wanted. We want to be able to spend those summer months enjoying and making memories with them. Instead of working 60 to 80 hours a week.
We wanted a life that we got to choose what we do with that.
So they turned to flipping houses, flipping furniture, and now making thousands selling returned items that people no longer want.
Our favorite thing to resell recently has been the Amazon return pallets, where you buy an entire pallet of returned merchandise from Amazon.
Wanting to share their secret of success, the couple created a YouTube channel which has grown to millions of views and over 140,000 subscribers.
Step 1, buy a pallet of Amazon returns. Step 2, resell the items. Step 3, make a profit.
Our goal with our YouTube channel is just to teach people different ways to make money outside of a 9-to-5, whether they're just looking to get ahead financially by paying off debts.
Oh, this is like perfect, new in package, like literally never been opened.
So how do you kickstart your own side hustle? Start small.
With 1 or 2 items to find at a thrift store and flip to see if you enjoy the process.
Have fun with the process.
Don't just flip random items. You got to find kind of what your interest is and what types of things you want to flip or resell.
And even though reselling can lead to more cash in the bank, the McCulleys say to watch how much you pay.
Do your research on those items, find out what those items are selling for, how long they take to sell.
The number one way to lose money flipping is by overpaying.
You don't want to overpay. Rebecca Jarvis, thank you. And I'm Alexis Christopher. Stay with us. ABC News Live continues with more news, context, and analysis. And as we head into the holidays, we want to take a moment to honor and hear from our troops overseas.
Hello, everybody. I'm U.S. Air Force Master Sergeant Wei Yu, stationed here in Okinawa, Japan, with the 18th Security Forces Squadron. I wanted to wish all of my friends and family a happy holiday season in College Park, Maryland. Happy holidays.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.